Greetings and welcome to a Monday edition of the Shotgun Start. It is July 7th. Andy, how we doing?
Brendan, I'm doing phenomenal. It is Victory Monday. Who would have guessed it?
Who would have guessed what?
University of Illinois, third win of the year. Only college program with more wins this year is Georgia.
PGA Tour wins.
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay. Congrats. Brian Campbell goes home, so to speak. They talked about how he spent, the weekend Champaign working with the team, or Mike Small. I don't know, just basically hitting balls there in the facility. Goes down to Moline, Quad Cities, and takes the Deere. Talks about kind of that's where it all started for him. Wins the John Deere in a thrilling playoff that appeared to get in the way of a Zach Brown band concert. That's what it looked like. The crowd was there. Emiliano Grillo, and Brian Campbell duke it out. Does not go into 6 holes or whatever it was last week with the Pot Geeter. And God, who did he beat? Who did Pot Geeter beat in Detroit?
Grazerman.
Max Grazerman. Slipped my mind already. But Campbell takes it down in the first hole as Grillo was kind of puttering about.
It's kind of with Grillo, it's kind of like you go through the middle of the order only so many times. You get a great middle of the order. He was 2-0 in playoffs coming in. He had taken down Schenk and who was the other guy he beat? Kevin Na in playoffs. And it's kind of like going through a murderer's row, 3, 4, 5 hitters in a great lineup like the Cubs, when you have to go Kyle Tucker, Suzuki, and then PCA. You can only get through it's hard to get through all three.
Oh.
Campbell, the cleanup hitter, finally takes him down. It's just a hard part of the order to get through Schenk, Campbell, and Kevin Na. Getting through 2 out of 3 was a great win for Grillo in general.
Campbell lost 4 strokes off the tee.
He was not driving it well early in the day today.
As we know, he's a bit of a poofer to begin with. Then he had the big hard hook left there that led to the double, was at 15. And at first it thought like he was going to get it knocked down again, like in Mexico when he came off the bamboo. They're like, did that come back out? But he did pay the piper there with the double bogey, but got back on the horse, the quick birdie right thereafter. Losing 4 strokes off the tee, winning on the PGA Tour. That's a rare deal. Obviously, extremely, extremely good through the rest of the game. Approach, around, putting. And you saw it there at the end. Hit kind of a nifty little draw into that green and chase the ball. Chase is kind of a strong term. It was soggy and soft there. Multiple intervening rain. Some was misting. Some looked like pissing, but it happened a few times on Sunday. That's not even to talk about the weather on Saturday. So he did hit a nifty little approach shot there on 18. Gets the win with losing 4 strokes off the tee.
It was crazy because he's had like 180 into 18. You know.
Yep.
It's just wild where some guys, if they can get it up, hit it too in that situation. Like they have like wedges in and he has he's just hitting I think it was a 7-iron into that green. It's amazing to get to be able to compete, let alone win twice the distance he's hitting the ball off the tee.
Is he going to the Ryder Cup? Are we having Brian Campbell at big beefy brawny Bethpage Black where sending it may be an advantage? Are we going to get him with some sort of big hitter taking down? Love to see him take down some sort of speed demon Danish player or something, and Brian Campbell just puts him in a blender with his old man game with back to the basket moves as the speed demon just gets flummoxed. Is he going to the Ryder Cup? 2-time winner on the PGA Tour.
No way.
Well, I appreciate the dose of reality, even as a biased Illinois fan. An impressive victory, nonetheless. I don't have a whole lot else to say about Brian Campbell. He won. Do you want to add more? Does this mean rollback should be dead? That we got a lot of hints at that on the PGA Tour. Like, these guys aren't supposed to be alive anymore. They're not supposed to be able to compete with the way the speed chase and distance is so prioritized, and it's a monotonous game at the highest level. There were just many sort of intimations of that throughout the broadcast.
I would say this is one of the few courses that you show up to and it doesn't feel like distance is like an overwhelming advantage, right?
Yeah.
I think that this is where like the discourse needs to move forward on the broadcast in general is starting to explain like why certain players are able to compete certain places, or why it's amazing when a power player who might be a little wild plays well at the Deere. That should be the Deere is keep the ball in play and wedge and putt, right? Like that is because there's enough space. It's not like a taxing driving course where like if in a way like Brian Campbell has like a lot of room to operate there because he doesn't hit it into spots that narrow up. So I think that this is like one of the 10 or 11 probably courses a year that the tour goes to that shorter hitters have like a legitimate chance to win. So it's not surprising to see him get it done here. Obviously, like when you look at the off the tee number, he probably lost a shot and a half on the one hole alone. But it's I'd be curious if you looked across the entire year or the last 10 years. I can't imagine many winners losing more than 4 shots off the tee in a tournament. Like that would be a great stat to pull. But obviously he was great in everything else, and I think it's a cool story just in general. With like we're always looking for new and different types of stories, and not every week can be a superstar. And this week, you could have had a bigger name. You had Max Homa, looked like early in the day was going to get it done.
Yep.
But like Brian Campbell, I mean, to go through everything he went through, injuries, just not really playing the level he probably expected to play for a long time, to now win twice. And, who knows if he wins more? I don't know. I think after Mexico, I said he'll probably never win again.
Yeah.
But he seemed pretty shocked by it, honestly. But we've seen like he's not. It's not like he's going to be a world beater week in, week out.
No. No, it's very.
Like he's 55 in the world now. And I doubt if you list out your top 55 players, you have him anywhere in the top 100.
Yeah, it's very hit or miss. And we should say Mexico is another one of those places, right? Where sure, if you are long and fast, there's not a lot you could just whale away with impunity, right? But you also it does bring the poofer if you are going to be exceptional through the rest of the game. You can have a chance there. That doesn't mean you have an advantage. Doesn't mean you can't you have room to have faults through the rest of the game. But yeah, it is maneuverable. All right, what else do we have from? I have nothing to say of Emiliano Grillo. He's won a Fries.com Open, Colonial a few years ago. A valiant effort today. Who do you feel like's most kicking themselves for not getting in the playoff? We had Max Homa.
I'm wondering if Patrick Wah's kid, Kevin Wah, is going to get on Twitter tonight and log on and see what people were saying about him tonight.
Kevin Wah or Roy. PJ needs to, if you have to answer or claim Brian Campbell, PJ has to answer for Kevin Wah, being a Syracuse native. He's from Syracuse.
I was wondering where you were going with that. Catalan loves throwing in the Syracuse native Kevin Wah.
I loved Catalan IBF duo today. That was great. It's like a late December Titans Jags game, in AFC South on the CBS package.
1 o'clock start. You got the 6 and 9 Jags and 5 and 10 Titans.
He did throw out the Syracuse bit a lot with Kevin Waugh.
Yeah, that's patented.
We got some people thinking we're actually suggesting he's Patrick Waugh. I personally get confused.
I personally am suggesting that that's the case.
Because Martin Brodeur's kid is in golf. He's like there's
a Lemieux too.
And he's mixing around on the minor league tour. And so then I get started like which early 90s or mid 90s wall of a goalie. So I was like, is it really Patrick Waugh's kid or am I getting confused on the Brodeur thing again? I'm trying to remember I swear the first time when I was like 7 or 8, and someone told me, actually, it's not Roy, it's Wah. Like you could have, like that to like my 8-year-old brain, like that you could have told me pigs fly, and I would have believed it before processing that it's actually Wah. Kevin Wah is on Twitter actively on Saturday after our own Joseph Lamagna, who's just grinding. Hand up, wasn't grinding John Deere Classic mid-third round coverage on Saturday. I was driving. But Lamagna's eagle-eyed on this. A curious ruling where Wah left his ball in a bunker. Ball came back to him-ish. And it settled near. I want to be careful about my terminology so he doesn't yell at any of us on Twitter. Appeared to look near his footprint from his first shot, where he did the sand shot, sand stance dig in a little bit, and he calls for a ruling on about just smoothing it out and raking it, and he's granted the job because it's apparently not in his line of play. Lamagna's on this. To his credit, says, this looks visually, regardless, it looked awful. I mean, just smooth it out. He has a challenge for the ball rolling back to his feet. Now he doesn't. It's just smoothed out. He's not playing it as it lies. He contended that it was nowhere near the actual ball. TV made it look much worse.
Now, can I just pop in here?
Yes, please.
If it was nowhere else, why did he need it raked?
Well, that's what
If it was nowhere near it, why would you need it raked? If it was inconsequential to your shot, why would you ask a rules official to have it raked? Because even if it's not in your direct line of play, if it's all in your head, that is something by the rules of golf that you should have to deal with.
Why have it raked if it's immaterial to your shot and it's not? Why have it raked? And so he has it raked. Lamagna's like, that looks the rules official's
dicey. Right there, and I gotta say, I think this is all the fault of the PGA Tour rules official and their laissez-faire, lax interpretations of the rules of golf, because this opened up member, that the man you're trying to protect, Kevin Waugh, it opened him up to being,
called
asked difficult questions about the ruling.
Yeah.
And that's where the officials need to enforce the rules simply to protect the members from, did this guy get a bad, scummy ruling? He's in contention. And no matter what, like, the guy goes on Twitter, he's defending himself at night. That's not good. That's not what he should be doing the night before a chance to win a golf tournament.
So in my mind, it's a little dicey even asking for the ruling. Like, is that... Would you do that? Would Westy do that? Would a sportsman do that? Even ask for the ruling? I think asking is a question of that could be asked in and of itself.
You know what he should have asked for?
What's that?
He should have asked his caddy to hop in and bring him his groove it.
He could have. He needed to clean that schmutz, the sand and dust out of his club face, out of that sand wedge, and instead of just raking, he could have used his Groove It brush, which is now sponsoring this podcast. Maybe they could sponsor Kevin Waugh. Get in the bunker with him, and be a better look.
I bet Kevin Waugh is cheaper to sponsor than Kevin Roy.
Probably true. Kevin Roy is hot right now. He's hot. Like his father, some of those playoff runs, just stopping everything, boop, 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 picking it off,
standing on his head.
That's what Kevin Waugh is,
I never understood that
either.
expression.
Some hockeyism. PJ, can you clarify what the hell that means?
I don't know if I have.
Okay.
I'll tell you what standing on your head in golf is.
What's
Brian
that?
Making
Campbell
sure that your
winning
grooves
twice.
are clean.
Making sure that you're.
That
And
works.
you
can't stand on your head unless you got clean grooves.
That is true.
Go to grooveitbrush.com. That is a very straightforward URL. Grooveitbrush.com. Leaves nothing to the imagination or confusion on that one. You use the promo code Friday.
No spaces.
You get 50% off any
15.
purchase. What do they
15.
have? What do they have besides the brushes? Have they diversified the
They got a
portfolio?
mini G.
PJ loves this stuff. He loves this little brush. We were on the Design Disasters outing, and he had it. He's just an enthusiast. He's a cult member of this brush. So does Will Knights.
You know why?
Plays a ton
You know
of
why
golf.
he likes this brush?
Why?
Because Cam Young uses a brush on the range.
Oh, okay. That's right. You can get 50% off with Fried Egg. It says, we make the top-rated golf brushes in the market. I got to understand who's ranking brushes. How deep does that list go? Are we doing this like golf course rankings or Mark Blackbird? I want to know the brush rankings. I want to see who's undertaken that effort. They're veteran-owned and operated. Oh, well, I love that. Veteran.
Love that.
Service members you can give back to with a brush purchase. Clean grooves, better golf shots, not for all of us, but in theory, yes. Don't let dirty grooves ruin your next swing. Go to grooveitbrush.com and use the promo code Fried Egg. The original Groove It brush holds water to spray and scrub. Look at PJ nodding his head like this guy has been in the trenches with this thing. You can spray.
I gotta say, I get a lot of compliments on my Groove It. I've been a long time Groove It user. People are fired up when they realize you can squirt the water out of it. I played golf last week, and my dad's friend who I was playing with loved it. He couldn't get enough of it. I told him, "Hey, I got a promo code for you."
You know what? You know what? I bet there are a lot of Groove It brushes in Champaign this week at the fine practice facilities the university has to offer. Place that everybody goes and gets better at golf. University of Illinois.
Well, I will say, if you're interested on their website, they do have a selection of college logoed Groove Its.
Here we go.
So if you're Chris Gotterup, you're an Oklahoma Sooner, you want an Oklahoma Groove It. That's an option for you.
Do
Do you think Gotterup should be at Oklahoma or Rutgers?
I think he seemingly takes a lot of pride in the jersey thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I almost feel like he has to be Rutgers, but I would understand why you wouldn't think that at the same time.
He's a big Jersey boy. You go to grooveitbrush.com, use the promo code Friday, 15%. It's also in retailers, Walmarts, little mom and pop shops like that all across the country. I don't have a whole lot else. Deer cleanup. Homa, is he back? Is he he's on the way?
I was thinking this was a great performance for the Buddy Ball cabal.
I'll say this. The guy has not been good this year. He's been, searching, obviously. If it's close, he's earned the benefit of the doubt after the last 3 Team Cup competitions. Montreal, Rome, and Charlotte. He's been exceptional. Now, I'm not suggesting that is a compelling argument that wins overall. But if he has a nice run here, and he doesn't have a lot of time left, I think he's been the best American or one of the 3 best American players, whether it's clutch or not, in the last 3 cups. So we'll see.
Is he in the Open?
I don't believe so. I think he obviously would have gotten in. via the qualifying series here.
So that kind of feels like a line in the sand for me.
Because
he got to qualify for all 4 majors to play on the Ryder Cup team.
He didn't qualify for the U.S. Open already. He didn't get through.
I mean, that feels like a, kind of like a bar I would like cleared, unless it was like I didn't play the Masters and then I got nuclear hot in the summer.
Sure.
Yeah. A good performance at the Deere is not going to change how I feel about Max Homa. That being said, I thought he looked good. The driver, he was hitting the ball far. That was what stood out to me. Most impressive was how far, how much speed he had off the tee. Listen, short putts on 17, 18. If he makes those 2, he's in the playoff. But that being said, like kind of after the start he got off to on a soft TPC Tour run, that was pretty mediocre Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, good to see him back in the mix. Obviously, you want to see the ball go in wherever it is. It's not like this isn't the deepest field of the year, but it's really good to see him playing well for most of the week. And if he gets hot, I think, he gets a lot of buzz because he's, likable and had the social accounts and is, on a bunch of media, like is like does well with interviews and is interesting character. I don't think he should get a spot because of that. He should get a spot because he has a little extra push based on how he's performed in some of these cups. But that's sort of a tiebreaker, and we're not there yet. Nate Lashley, got to call him out. One of my favorite tweets coming across my desk this afternoon as I was watching. This is from the Model Maniac, a gambling account, gambling friend, DFS fella. He goes, Nate Lashley just had an official walk up to him on 6 while walking to his ball in the fairway. Nate says, "You're not going to tell me we are behind, are you?" The official says, "No, but I am going to tell you that the language you used on the previous hole is unacceptable." And then he proceeded to get in his face, chest to shoulder, which he could not hear. They are about a hole behind, with Lashley really not showing any urgency, handing out water to people in the gallery. He took forever on 17 with the honor after making birdie on 6. I think they've also now been warned for slow play. So Nate Lashley, like the bad boy Pistons, just out there, just causing trouble with his language, pace of play, if this tweet is to be believed. These guys are playing for like $9 million at Deere Run. I don't know. Just seems maybe be a little less grumpy. Anything else from Deere Run that struck your fancy?
Good to see Cooch, 47-year-old Matt Cooch, out there playing late on Sundays, providing guidance to the young players on tour. That was great to see. Clean up the bridge man. The bridge man is, the bridge man should be considered for Ryder Cup.
Said he and Glover were vibing together, playing off each other. The bridge man, Lucas Glover. Jackson Coyven, solid, very solid. T12, I believe, is where he ended up settling.
He lost like a couple shots with his irons too at T11. Like he was bad on approach, which is like kind of nuts.
Yep. To finish top 15.
Lost 5 shots approaching the green.
Crazy. Dunlap, good to see him have a solid week with
must have been confident because of Joseph putting him up so high in his young
Wednesday
guns rankings.
Yeah, I don't want. It's yips, right? Let's just call it what it is. Guy can't
driver yips.
Keep it on the planet, but a T11, so that's encouraging.
Maybe he hit 3-wood all week.
Finishes T11. He possibly did. And then we had a big Aldridge Potgieter WD on Saturday. PJ, you were looking at this with some amount of skepticism.
I was just wondering. There was usually when a guy WDs, they give a reason. It's been over 24 hours now. There's been no follow-up reason.
It's just
interesting. It's interesting.
They took him off the leaderboard.
He's now on, but as of right when he WD'd on like the PGA Tour app or whatever, they usually when you WD, they put you down at the bottom as WD. He was just gone. He was just not.
So there were conspiracy
listed.
theories about
so
this.
There were some conspiracy theories being batted about.
Maybe he cashes in Detroit and moves on to another cash in at another tour.
Yeah.
Is that
maybe
you don't WD in the middle of the tournament though?
I don't know. I think it's weird that there's still no explanation now over 24 hours later.
It is a little bizarre. He's signing autographs, doing the whole thing. Who doesn't sign autographs but may sign books is Dan Brown, the author of Angels and Demons, Da Vinci Code.
It's open championship season.
It is Dan Brown's season. Dan Brown is here. He wins the BMW International Open on the DP World Tour.
Good time of year to read books. I feel like summer's when you do the most damage in the book with the books.
Got a giant stack. I just keep buying books, but I don't get through them at the rate that I buy them. I feel like I'm starting to eat into the stack that I've had on my desk next to my bed. So trying to get there. Reading. What I'm reading? I'm reading essays from Harry Colt before I go to Portrush next week. Nice, clear and concise. Nice and easy on that one.
This is a nice book. It's light.
Yeah,
it's easy.
Very light. That's why I started. I was like, I can do this in an hour and then get back to my stack.
You know what I like? I like books that you can read for 5 minutes, and you like that gets you from one tranche to the next tranche.
Yes, there's a cutoff.
Yeah,
it's a section end or something. It's the best.
To me, that's the best kind of book right now for my life.
I'm pretty sure Da Vinci Code is like that. Aren't they all 2-page chapters, 3-page chapters?
I never read the Da Vinci Code.
Oh, I read it when it was hot, whatever that would have been, 2004 or something, some summer. I read it when everybody was reading.
Hey, Peach, I got to ask, you're a Z. What's this thing I read that Generation Zs are opposed to just the thumbs up emoji?
Like thumbs upping a text message.
Yeah, they say that it's disrespectful. I read an article about
what
this.
Is it supposed to be?
I wouldn't say it's disrespectful, but I think people read into that a little bit more. That if you're just ending a conversation with a thumbs up, I think people could see that as a little passive aggressive. Maybe isn't the right term for it, but you're not actually responding to the message. You're just giving it a thumbs up.
What's wrong with that?
I'm not one of these people.
Okay.
It's like there are people that I know that if you put a period in a text message, that it will get read differently than if you just leave it open-ended. You know what I mean?
Here's what I like about the thumbs up. It stops the chain of text messages.
No, it ends it.
Because if you keep replying...
This is exactly it.
It's an affirmation, going. But it's not a continuation.
And it can be just I got it.
Yep.
And there's no text. There's no reason for the next person to continue on.
Now, is it thought to be too cold and cruel for your generation?
That's what they're saying.
So it needs to be a heart. Does the heart satisfy you a little bit better?
I think it's the abrupt ending to a conversation that might rub people the wrong way.
Oh my God.
I would like to just say I don't think I have this issue.
All right,
but
Dan Brown.
I know this is a thing.
Dan Brown strikes me as a guy who has no interest in this issue either.
I could see him using the thumbs up a lot. Can I point out something else?
Yeah, please.
It's been, this is along the same lines of this. You know what's frustrating is if somebody reaches out and then they get frustrated if you don't reply.
I mean, okay. Yeah. I mean, look, I am guilty, very guilty of this. I have 439 unread text messages right now. Some of those are automated, obviously, not all. I think I don't think it's good. I think you got to reply. I'm not proud of it. But you're saying it's a cold call, essentially. They reached out and they're mad if you don't reply?
Yeah.
Even if it's somebody you know?
Well, they could if they want, they could send another message. But I'm just saying general societal discourse needs to be okay. If you reach out to somebody, it needs to be okay for them not to reply.
Okay. All right, we can normalize that. We can elevate that.
Just like it needs to be okay to give the thumbs up.
That I'm fully on board with. Fully on board with that.
We gotta move past. I think this is important for society with emails and text messages, raising the availability of people more than ever.
Oh, just getting hammered.
Yeah,
hammered with. People were upset. I got one individual get mad at me because I didn't respond in a timely manner last week. They're in the 2-day wake and family funeral. And at that point when he expressed some irritation about it, then I got a little pissed. But otherwise, I think you kind of should respond or try to.
Try to.
Yeah. Dan Brown tried his little heart out and he won the BMW International Open. He got emotional. He just lost a close mate of his, he said. And, Dan Brown, this guy who's like taking selfies in the last throws of the Open Championship, but he's kind of a steady Eddie, but lost his emotions there for a good reason after a win on the DP World Tour. Congrats to him. Out of the angels and demons and into the winner's circle, through the angels, battles his demons and gets the win.
You see, he's sponsored by a company called American Golf.
I did see that. Seems sort of counter to everything he is. He's just a smoking Briton, Frederick LaCroix, put him on the wheel, PJ, and Matt Laporta, or Francesco Laporta, I should say.
Yes. Guys are crazy. There's no mules. The European team is going to be stacked. There are no mules.
Andy, are you familiar with the Tartan Tour?
Yeah, I have heard of it.
We got a mule edition from the Tartan Tour.
We got a mule coming to that. By the name of Chris McLean. It's MAC, like Don's son. Took my Chevy to the levee.
What was the guy from Die Hard's name? John McClane?
John.
Yeah,
related to John.
I think it's spelled differently.
Yeah, that was LAIN. Chris McLean came on our radar with several messages this week. We got to get him on the Ryder Cup. This is my kind of fella. He's a Scot, I believe. Is that PJ? You said you're all in on Chris McLean. We were getting lots of messages because he was leading the Tartan Tour. Sadly, finished, I believe, T2 on the Tartan Tour. But a good run. PJ, tell us more about Chris McLean.
What is it about him that it needs to be on the team?
Just give him a Google. PJ, what do you like about him?
I mean, he's clearly got some game. I mean, he's in the upper tier of the Tartan Tour, which gets you on the Challenge Tour next year. Dude, like, unironically getting him and Sepp, it's over for Brian Campbell and Brian Harmon. It is over.
I mean, we got, I want, this is my kind of guy. I need this guy in world ascending. Higher up the
and
world.
He's pretty good.
He's very good.
Yeah.
He's midpoint leader on the Tartan Tour. Don't slack that. They were promoting the hell out of him on the Tartan Tour. So congrats to him. I have no other further DP World Tour thoughts. It's hot these days. You got to mind your protein. You got to mind your energy levels. Right. And one of the cleanest, best proteins you can get is Maui Nui Venison. You go to Maui Nui, N-U-I, not N-E-W-E-Y, nothing like that. It's Maui, as you spell the island in Hawaii. Nui, N-U-I, venison.com/SGS. It offers the only 100% wild harvested meat that's completely stress-free and responsibly sourced. It's perfect for anyone looking to elevate their meals with delicious, high-quality protein. It's offering Shotgun Start listeners a limited collection of our favorite cuts and products, but supply is limited by the nature of what the land and what the harvest yields. So it's limited. It's not just coming off a conveyor belt like a processed garbage. Endless supply of it. It's what they have. So they have a limited supply of our favorite cuts at MauiNuiVenison.com/SGS. It's the healthiest red meat you'll ever eat. It's the highest protein to calorie ratio, up to 53% more than grass-fed beef. I've got the sticks still going. I was playing some golf this past week in the heat, getting 100 degrees. I have the electrolyte drink. Got this for protein, 10 grams of protein at just 55 calories. Seems like a pretty good ratio. And sugar-free. Those are the sticks. And it's clean tasting, unmatched tenderness. You go to MauiNuiVenison.com/SGS to check out some of our favorite cuts. Have you grilled out any of that stuff? The chuck?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's awesome.
I love it.
It's really good.
I got to figure out what I'm
did. I used the ground venison for tacos, which was great.
That's
and
good
then I did the medallions one day when the missus was gone.
Love that. Good way to. We've been on a little bit of a healthy kick, so this is good protein. MauiNuiVenison.com/SGS. Elsewhere in the world of golf, do you have any other DP World Tour thoughts? I didn't think.
Got nothing else.
All right, Lottie.
Next week's the Dick Open Senior Tour.
Yeah, there was no golf this week besides Deere, the 1 Euro Tour, and then a lead event, the Irish KPMG Women's Irish Open, won by an amateur. Lottie Woad won by 6. Goes
Dominated.
68, 67, 67, 69 for 271 total beats. It wasn't just a bunch of this was pretty good field. Not a Charlie Hall was in it. She beat Madeline Sagstrom by 6. And there was a bunch of European women, Solheim Cup veterans, Anna Nordqvist, a bunch of players, Charlie Hall, Sagstrom, who was just in the hunt for a major, I believe at Erin Hills. So it was a good run, or a better field than you might think upon first glance, and she dominates as an amateur. Obviously, has a chance. She's probably going to qualify for their version of PGA Tour U. She is. It's going to happen, but she hasn't yet. She says she's not tempted to turn pro. I'm still trying to get my final quote 2 points for the LPGA, and then we'll see what happens after that. So she can either get LPGA membership immediately for the rest of this year and next when she hits that threshold, which would skip her senior season at FSU, obviously, or she could just go back for her senior season and defer the card to next year. So she's got the card. She's going to have the card. It's just you want to start this summer.
Go.
And next. Yeah.
Strike while the iron's hot. I feel like Jackson Coyven should turn pro too. Just go. I don't understand the argument for staying in school at this point with the way golf works and the money available in golf and
how fickle.
Just go. Yeah. Do not allow yourself to, like, when you're playing golf that awards you a PGA Tour card, you go as fast as you can.
She's obviously had an impressive to dominant amateur career, winning the ANWA, contending at the very next one, won 5 times, I believe, at FSU, and now just won a pro event by 6. Seems like you're ready to go. She probably could. She's going to legitimately be among the top 6. I'm not a professional gambling podcast. Top 7 to 10 favorites for the Monday Evian Championship, a major, quote unquote, next week. And probably justifiably so. So. Congrats to Lottie Woad. Probably performance of the weekend. News. We'll talk more about this week.
Hey,
Scott,
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do we have I think we talk about this both ways. We kind of talk out of both sides of our mouths with this. But is there a misalignment with the PGA Tour schedule and the general sports schedule? I just noticed.
What do you mean?
I noticed today, you get all different sports personalities are tweeting about golf, and it's the John Deere Classic.
Yeah,
and it's should we? And I get it's summer, people travel the most now, people have the most activities now, but it does feel like a miss in the sense of this event was a fun event, and it had the best field it's had in a really long time. But It feels like maybe there should be more signature events now. And I think the counter would be that's why the playoffs are in August, but still the playoffs like kind of run into football in a way.
I've always wondered about this. Like the Open is the one that falls on the deadest sports week of the year, literally. Like as someone who worked in website traffic and monitored that, like it's that All-Star MLB All-Star. I think it's the one day of the year where there's like literally nothing of the four major North American sports, and the Open then comes right on Thursday, right after it. But with that one, the ratings are kind of flagging because of the time change and the time difference, and it's just not as resonant to American audiences. I think it's tricky. I think what we have right now seems to be cooking pretty well. I just, for me personally, it's only majors. Once you get past like, June 1st or I kind of only care about majors. I shouldn't say that, but the majors is like, it's just everything else around the majors.
Everything's contextualized through the majors.
Yeah.
And like this year, the Ryder Cup, it's like, it seemed like to me, like,
sure.
If we weren't talking about this, it'd be like who qualified for the Open. The Deere's always like a big Open qualifier, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It's just like, it's just something I jotted down today while watching. Because it's like there's literally nothing else going on.
Yeah, I mean, if you have like Scotty contending today, it's a big deal. I'm sure. Yeah. It's a big sports moment.
I mean, Homa being in the mix made it like elevated the Deere. No offense to Davis Thompson, it didn't do it last year.
God, I was looking at like
sports.
the top ratings, like. We can be critical, but God, golf does all right. I mean, it's way bigger than Stanley Cup final, the majors, Masters for sure. It does okay. I think the cadence is not terrible.
The one other thing I was going to point out, no Trevor this weekend. I think like CBS's broadcast chemistry really shined.
Yeah.
Like even without Falda or without Nance or Trevor, their ability to like the way they kind of like move the ball around so well because they've worked together for so long. I feel like that's like one of their strengths of their broadcast is just like literally like they just like kick the ball, they kick the commentary around so smoothly. It is like and obviously we got one more week of CBS, then we go to NBC for the Open, but I think like continuity in a broadcast team is so important, and it's like so evident that Dottie and IBF and
Cole,
have worked together for a long time now.
Mm-hmm.
And Amanda and Nabilo gets in there too, and
it's a great point. I mean that it's the consistency, right? Is there's like just not a lot of turnover, not a lot of change, like a basketball team on defense, right? If you've played together a long time, right? Sort of the strength. And or a receiver and a quarterback, something like that. So it's a good point. News, Scottish Open field. Speaking of Trevor and Nance, I think they're headed there for the Renaissance. I think it's their second strongest field of the year on the PGA Tour, major players, things like that. I think all top 5 players in the world in the FedEx Cup. I don't remember what the metric was. They're all going to be there. So everybody's playing. So that's good.
It's North Berwick week.
It is North Berwick week. 9 p.m., 10 p.m. golf, sunset.
Catnip of the week is going to play North Berwick this week. It's delightful. I miss that place.
Yeah, it'll be good. If any Live boys were invited, we know someone who wouldn't be happy about it. That's Lucas Glover. He was on his radio program. It's just sort of this endless fountain of content this year. And he was, I don't want to play with them, me personally. I don't think they should be back here. I don't want them here. They made their decision. I don't blame any of them. They made a decision. I don't care. But they also went from this tour and chose to. As a PGA Tour player and somebody that dreamed of playing the PGA Tour and have poured my heart and soul into this touring game for 21 seasons now, I don't want somebody to choose another path and a path of less resistance. I don't want them back here competing and taking part of my pie and these kids' pie that are trying to make it now. I don't want that. Now, we as a group, golf fans, we as everything, the top 4, 5, 6 players over there, if they were playing the PGA Tour, would it benefit all of us because our TV deal in 2030 would be bigger? Would XYZ? That's the big question right now. Does it behoove all of us tour members who have equity now to grow our sport by bringing some of those guys back? But I'm having a hard time with it. So, guy who sees all the issues, I would say he sees the sides, but is not coming around to it. Sees the TV deal, sees the value of having those stars, but says, I don't want them back here. That got aggregated quite a bit. Also, which got aggregated, new tour distribution. I believe this was FedEx Cup prize distribution. This was originally in Front Office Sports, I believe, had this report because it was not. I think they beat the tour to the punch. There was no official press release or announcement in the way that they wanted. The new purse breakdown, you got $100 million. $100 million spread across 3 checkpoints. God, it's unbelievable. I'm gonna try to go over the Adaptive Open tomorrow or this week at Woodmont, and it's just like seeing that and sort of the benefits of the USGA putting that into action, seeing like other golf, the larger golf ecosystem, and then look, these guys, it's capitalists. These guys have, wrangled this amount of money, whether it's from TV or elsewhere. Like, I get it. They're a draw. But just thinking about how we've come to fighting over these, whether you are wiping your ass with a $5 bill or a $20 bill is basically what we're at with a lot of this. But here's the $100 million. It's not that, I don't mean that as a lecture at all. They've done well, and it's soaring right now. $100 million. There will be $20 million at the Wyndham Championship. So essentially your Comcast Business top 10. Split them on the top 10. So $20 million across 10 players there at the end of the regular season. $22.93 million split them on the top 30 at the BMW Championship. So $22 million going to those players that get, I believe, into the BMW at the top 30. Then at the Tour Championship, $57.08 million total. $40 million split them on the top 30, and $17 million split among 31 to 150. So you got $40 million going to the top 30 and 17 left over for 31 to 150. Number one at the end of the regular season gets $10 million. That'll be Scotty Scheffler, I believe. Number one at the going into the BMW, I guess it would be at the start of the BMW, would get $5 million. And then number one at the Tour at the FedEx Cup finale would get $10 million. So that's $25 million for number one across all 3 spots, which is what you would get if you won the whole FedEx Cup like Scotty last year. You just get $25 million. Now it's being spread at 3 checkpoints. There you go. Does this excite you?
No, I don't care. Don't give. It could give 2 shits about how much these guys are making. I know it's a lot. I know that having a lot, let's be clear here. Like, having a lot of money in the sport is good for the sport overall, like long term. Like, money attracts more talent over time. Like, one of the reasons that golfers are bigger and faster overall, like why there are so many guys that swing the club fast and are, athletic, is because there's more money in the sport because of Tiger. So like, money overarching is in the sport means it's like a healthy sport. But at the same time, I really don't need to know all the ins and outs of how much money, is being handed out to these guys,
I do think it's good. It's interesting that there's some protection for the top regular season player.
Yeah.
It's good to, it's not a winner take all at the end based on what they're doing now.
I like the checkpoints too, because it incentivizes guys to play throughout the year.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's it. That does it for news. That does it for this Monday episode, the Shotgun Start.
Oh, wait. Hold on. There's a very tragic loss to the golf community today.
Yeah. I had it at the top of the show, but we led with Illinois.
Ed Fiori, one of this podcast's favorites, passed away at the age 72. Former Quad Cities, I think it was the Classic, Quad Cities Classic
champion.
Beat dual Tiger Woods in his third career start, and took him down. Was called the Tiger Killer by some, called the Grip by others because of his strong grip, and he himself in a Golf Digest article referred to himself as the pool boy because he just
golf.com
cleans his pool in his retirement. Ed Fiori, golfer you just wouldn't see. Honestly, Fiori was like 236 off the tee, one of the shortest hitters.
238.9, I think we said last Wednesday.
Brian Campbell, maybe this was Ed Fiori looking down for one of the short hitters on tour.
Oh, that's a good point. Way to tie it all together. That's great. Obviously it's sad for this podcast. Startling news. We just talked about him on Wednesday in the CBS show as like a mini flashback. You did a rollicking and enjoyable flashback 6 years ago almost now. Yeah. For the 2019 Deere, where Fiori came on the radar for a lot of our listeners of a younger generation. It was sort of startling to see he passed away today at 72. Still a lot of life to live 72, but won 4 times on the PGA Tour, and we loved getting to know more about him through our flashbacks, both just last week and then 5 or 6 years ago. So RIP to Ed Fiori and condolences to his family. All right, now that does it, I think, for this Shotgun Start Monday. We'll be back with you on Wednesday, talk a little Scottish Open, and jump into the women's major, all sorts of stuff coming up. It's link season, ready for coffee golf. Can't wait.